Yo, what's going on, guys? And today let's discuss the Milwaukee Bucks offseason. And before we start today's video, Damian Lillard's out for the season. Popped Achilles. Giannis stays, or does Giannis go? And does Doc Rivers stay, or do you fire Doc Rivers? I actually thought Doc Rivers wasn't that bad. Honestly, thought he did a better job coaching in Milwaukee than any time in Philadelphia. Maybe that was just me, but let's get right into it. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content from me. And go check out my work at hoopshype.com. Now, what are the Milwaukee Bucks going to do? Man, oh man, I think there's just a few things that we need to talk about. Let's just start it off. This was a team that they lost in the playoffs, first round 4-1. Damian Lillard tore that Achilles. They acquired Kyle Kuzma, shipped off Chris Middleton and his destroyed lower half. What do we got to watch? Giannis Antetokounmpo's future. He is a guy whose franchise direction hinges on his commitment. And with Damian Lillard's Achilles injury, the long recovery is more than going to guarantee that he misses all of 2025 to 26. It'd be a miracle if he were to make it back for a playoff run. This raises the question about short-term contention. Can this team compete with a core of Kyle Kuzma and Giannis Antetokounmpo? Because with the pending free agents of Brook Lopez, Taurean Prince, and Gary Trent Jr., player options with Bobby Portis and Kevin Porter Jr., and Mr. Pat Connaughton, the only one who seems like he would stay is Patty Boy, because everybody else is going to make more money by leaving. And Ryan Rollins and Stanley, I guess, would be just like carryovers, low contract. So you got, what, AJ Green, Ajax, and Giannis. Kyle Kuzma is your core. This is kind of like Kyle Kuzma isn't even that nice. 14 points a game. Cool. If you're able to keep Bobby Portis, Gary Trent, AJ Green, Kevin Porter Jr., solid role players. But Brook Lopez is aging, and he's declining. You saw it in his minutes, too. There needs to be more role clarity between the depth. There isn't much depth outside of the aforementioned Trent, Scoot, Green, Portis, if they retain those guys. What, Ajax? Chris Livingston? You leave? Ryan Rolls was actually pretty solid, defensively. Not only can he steal off the court, he can do it on the court. So, man, the guy's really good. I liked him. I liked him as a prospect out of Toledo, so I'm actually not complaining about that one. And this is a team that they're not in a great situation cap-wise. Are they going to be able to sign guys? Yeah. They have some wiggle room with cap space. They were able to do the whole Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma thing to get it under the CBA constraints. So they also have a trade exception of $7.2 million for Middleton and another one of 2.1, right? And then two other ones for AJ Johnson and Bocham. So I think the biggest thing is they only have one tradable first and one second round pick. They're only young. There's no trade value for Chris Livingston, and I wouldn't trade AJ Green or Ajax. So do you gauge Giannis's long-term intentions? Do you build around the timeline of his? I just don't see how you can get. You got to call up the Brooklyn Nets and be like, "Hey, Damian Lillard, take our one freaking pick And who do you have? Because this is actually a lot of money, so I actually need to go to hoopshype.com for our salaries. We have a great salaries page, and it's way better. It's just I think everyone agrees with me on this one. It's just way easier to navigate it, like just simple. Don't get me wrong, Spot Rack and all the other places have fantastic ones, but like ours is just easy to use, guys. You don't have to think about it too much. Now, does it sometimes glitch? I do agree. Sometimes it does. But Damian Lillard's one of the highest paid players in the NBA coming into next year, and that's going to be a problem for doing any sort of business, especially with Milwaukee. Looking at this, making $58 million is an absurd amount of money. So going back to this theory, Damian Lillard salary dump to Brooklyn. Well, Brooklyn could technically eat some of that salary, but it's not like they're not going to give you Nick Claxton for Damian Lillard and just, maybe the first round pick could like coerce them enough to be like, that's a good enough first round pick for us to be enticed. Or maybe it's a Cam Johnson. Really, Nick Claxton would be the one you want, just Dame and for Nick. And still, that's like a 30 million gap. So, like, the goal would be then the first, the second. For, I guess, the only realistic deal would be like Nick Claxton and Cam Johnson for Damian Lillard. And you just hope that they would be willing to do that. And obviously, you give them literally the one tradable first round pick. You tell them if you want it in 31 or in 2029 or 2028. You can, let me confirm that. You can trade it either in 2031 or 2032. So you say, here's the 1 second round pick we have. Here's the 2031, 2032 option pick, your choice in what year. And Damian Lillard gives Cam Johnson and Nick Claxton. That's like the only trade out there where a team can eat that much money, I believe. And that has assets that would be able, because then you'd move off of Brook Lopez. You have Claxton, Giannis, Cam Johnson. You got to move Kyle Kuzma at that point, but like you got to get some depth because if you can keep Scoot and you have AJ Green, Scoot, Ryan Rollins, Lopez, you're replacing with Claxton at that point. Or like in this theory, you just got to find a play. Even if you don't do that, you got to find a replacement for Lopez, or you keep Lopez at a cheaper price. You hope Bobby Portis comes back, either declining that option and renegotiating, or he might get poached. They got to bring some, their perimeter defense ranked bottom 10, so they need to add some two-way wings, and they need to use those trade exceptions to add some, mid-tier role players, especially at the wing position, or combo forwards, and some shooters. They were 11th in offensive rating, and they were 13th in defensive rating. And this is a team that, they were actually efficient when it came to three-point shots, 4th in true shooting. So rebounding, though, one of the worst ones in the league, and bottom 3 in turnovers forced. They relied too much on Giannis, and their secondary scoring outside of Damian Lillard was Trent Jr. and Bobby Portis now. So Lillard's not going to be a guy who was going to be a long-term solution. Obviously, we knew this was a small window, but you need to find somebody who's going to be able to help them out. So I think the final questions we have here, will Milwaukee pivot to retooling or pushing for contention again, or will they tear it down? Because if you trade Giannis right now, you can probably actually get problem is you don't control your destiny. You don't control your destiny. You got to go for it because you don't have any picks. And can they find short-term help at the guard position? Because you have no Dame. I think you have to dump Dame somehow. And is in time to invest more in youth and perimeter defense. So that's it. We'll do predictions in the future. Probably around the lottery. Ciao.